But I mean, it's not doing it right now, but
And we are live.
we are.
I forgot to push the button 30 seconds ago, but I pushed the button now. Welcome to Monday, Brent.
It is Monday. Not only is it Monday, it is the Monday that signifies the absolute midpoint of December, where most people have completely checked out, and we won't ever hear from them again until January 15th.
Until January 15th. It's very specific. So somebody's gonna take like 30 days. They're just gonna be like, all right, for this 30-day period, I'm gonna go into hibernation. I've had it in my extra
Yeah.
bulked out for the winter time. I'm going to go into hibernation. I'm going to go get some sleep, and then in about 30 days I will rise again. I will wake up.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the way I look at it is you got the holidays. So if you're going to be doing anything, the last 2 weeks of December pretty much shot. And then the first 2 weeks of January, everybody's just recovering. It's post New Year's. And everybody's trying to get their shit back together and go, oh man, all the planning I should have done in Q4, I better get done in the next couple weeks and crank out my year. And they're just trying to get their stuff together. So you can't really put too many meetings on a calendar because you can't really get a hold of anybody. So the last 2 weeks of the year, first 2 weeks of the year, totally dead, mostly dead. Not everybody.
If you happen to be one of those people going through that dead space, which is the whole, I'm really working toward getting ready for the end of the year, and then I need to get things restarted up for the beginning of the year, you know a guy. And I've got a couple of different programs out there that are specifically designed to help with this in the context of running sprints, and ran a video on it over the weekend on Sunday. The Sunday video was around designing your first 3 2-week sprints for the year, and getting those done over this period of time so that you can use them for both accountability and reflection. So, although there are a group of people out there that are that will go into this system of this this quiet period, there are a number of people that will come out of the quiet period in a significantly better place.
Indeed. At least we're hoping. And you know what? I like to think that we're here every morning helping everybody not only start their day, but to plan for their future, prepare for a better world, to take the new technology that they are faced with and embracing, and the issues that are just kicking them in the nuts every day. And we're helping them feel better, feel good about it, and moving on to the next thing and winning and being successful.
Look good, feel good, play good.
Yes. That's our new motto. I'm
That's
putting that on the logo. Or is that number one for a movie clip reference of the day?
No, I think the one who gets that attributed to most is Deion Sanders. Look good, feel good, play good. But it might be somebody else, and maybe somebody in the chat will will correct me. And this is awesome. So Craig, it let you down that I didn't do it, let you down that I admitted it, let you down that I actually watched the movie and enjoyed the movie, and actually watched the bootleg cut, which is the 2-hour and 42-minute version of the movie, not the traditional 2-hour one. But I can't even watching that cut. I don't know what they would have cut out. It was so good. I watched Almost Famous for the first time last week. Brent, have you seen the movie?
I don't think I have. No.
So it's Kate Hudson is in the movie. It's about the Cameron Crowe. Wait, so long. It's about the Cameron Crowe going around and interviewing bands during the 70s. So it's set back in this early 70s.
Oh.
I remember. So I was talking with Jen about this, trying to figure out what was the reason for not watching. It is amazing. It is an amazing movie, and that good to hear that the long version is the best one. was trying to figure out like why we didn't watch it. It's more of a coming of age movie that was launched in the 2000 right at the beginning of 2000.
Okay, that's
So
exactly why I haven't seen it, because I was mostly without movies and saw nothing during the 2000s because I was raising children, and there are no movies other than Disney movies. When my whole 2000s, yeah, nothing but cartoons.
and it wasn't you weren't going to go back in and watch a coming of age movie about teenagers growing up when you're now have like little kids in the house that you got to take care of. You got this wetware that you got to kind of get moving along, and literally it was Winnie the Pooh um and then and then movies like Finding Nemo and Up and
Oh yes.
a couple of the other ones that have
Oh,
come
all
out.
of the Toy Stories and Veggie Tales. Yes, that was being introduced to that was pretty epic. So
So it's when we do the news, I think of like Bear in the Big Blue House, and then kind of going around saying like, "What's in the news today? What's in the news today?" I'm not gonna sing it out loud. It's just a little bit too early. But there's this there. So that was the thing, Craig. So
all
yes,
right, Craig, I'm going to go find it.
it's phenomenal. I can't believe, but yeah, yeah, it was good.
Yeah, okay. I'll put that on the list. So, actually, speaking of our news this morning, so I threw Gemini for a loop, and you know what I need to try to figure out is what's the prompt that tells Gemini to erase its thinking and just start the freak over? Do you just tell it, hey, forget what I just posted before and start over? Here we go. One e and a two e and a ready and go, and then put in the next thing. Like what what is it that you do? Because I started off the morning trying something new. Mike had some good points, so I decided to modify it, but it still used the first prompt with my second prompt. So my first prompt was, tell me today's news about learning and development. That's all Mike and I have used each morning since we started doing this. Just that one sentence, just to see what Gemini would do over time. Today I dropped it in, but I added a sentence and said, for each item, list a short description of the trend and the current reality related to that trend. And then, so it came up with a bunch of stuff. I'll tell you what that stuff was in a minute, but then I'll go down to the second. So Mike and I started thinking that maybe we mildly confused Gemini with news versus trends, because the word trend and the word news could be very different, and we could be getting the wrong things than what we want to talk about, because we really want to talk about it's just news. We want to just like update you, excuse me, on current things that are going on in the industry that you should know about going into your day today. To me, it's felt like those items that we've been discussing have been kind of trends, also could be tagged as trends. That's how it was sorting through them. But in my second in my second one, I said, tell me today's news about learning and development. So the exact first sentence, but I said, list only current news in L&D that has happened within the last 3 months.
Hmm.
And so it still did the split. It split up for each item. It split it up as the trend and the current reality, which is what made me laugh, because I'm like, it's still doing it. How do I tell it to just, think on its own? But anyways, we'll accept it. But it did put a date with each one of the items that it thinks is a new report or something like that. So there's that. Oh, actually, I should be sharing my screen instead of just talking about this, shouldn't I?
Should. We also got a Craig comment in here.
Oh, yes, we do. You can start a closed area in most AI engines. You can adapt them, or you can just start a new one and say exactly, forget what you know about X. Okay. I should totally do that. I wonder if just starting a new chat would do it.
Oh, are you building on the same chat every time?
Oh, no, I do a brand new chat every time, but except for in this moment. So I guess I could just do a new chat and give it the new prompt, the second prompt.
The new chat smell.
Yes. But anyways, let me zoom in so people can actually read this. Bada bing, bada bo. wee bit more. 175, is that
So
too
everybody
much?
does have some homework as a result of this. Here in the next 7 days, actually in the next 2 weeks, 15 days,
4
everybody,
weeks when they're doing nothing in the first 2 of the year too.
well, we're going to give 2 weeks to go do it, and then a little bit of time for maybe us to have a conversation around it. Go watch Almost Famous.
I
Next
will
year.
take that as homework.
There you go.
Okay, so this was. Am I back at the beginning or am I? Yeah, so I'm back at the beginning. So here were the first things based on that first one that I did, where I said give each item a short description of the trend
Yep.
and the current related thing. Right. So AI-driven personalization from co-pilot to strategist. Personally, I can confirm this one. It's felt like as the AI movement has gone forward, there was everybody was writing about how AI, and I still see some stuff out there, but it's changed a little bit. Everybody's been writing about how AI is going to be your helper. It's going to make you better. It's going to be having a digital colleague or a digital partner or a digital assistant to help you, which I would attribute to the word co-pilot in this instance, but it's shifting to strategist, and I do hear a lot of people talking about that with agentic AI, that it's helping you strategize different things. So I don't know if that's exactly how I'd put it, but the current trend, artificial intelligence has moved beyond simple content creation and is now being used to design entire adaptive learning ecosystems. The news today highlights a shift where AI agents are now acting as 24/7 digital career coaches, blah, blah, blah. Yes. So the current reality, while the technology is here, governance is the bottleneck. I'll just leave it at that and move on to the next one. The skills-based organization struggle. Yeah. The headline news is the rise of gig marketplaces within large enterprises where employees are hired for short-term internal projects based on verified skills rather than their official department. Current reality, the data is messy. Most organizations are finding that their HRIS system data is outdated or incomplete. L&D professionals are currently tasked with the massive, unglamorous job of cleaning skills data, trying to verify if an employee actually has the Python skills they claim on their profile before the AI matches them to a critical project. I would say that's a big deal. I as boots on the ground, have actually seen this where AI implementations will typically fail if your data isn't clean in general. But I think for our purposes and the things that we think AI is going to do for us as professionals, kind of like we talked about a little bit on Friday, yeah, if the data is not clean, we're going to be sorely disappointed. Immersive learning returns to reality. So extended reality is trending away from metaverse hype and towards specific high risk safety and technical training. It's always been around. I don't think it's, well, it does say that it's returning. So I'll give them that, but it really hasn't gone away for those critical industries that need it. Current reality hardware friction is still real. While headsets are cheap, deploying them distributed workforce remains a logistical nightmare. Yes. The actual winner right now is desktop VR simulations that run on a standard browser. Yes. LearnOps and the ROI pressure cooker. Wow, that's pretty impressive that LearnOps became a buzzword. All right. So any of these sticking out at you, Mike?
I got another comment in here from Craig, which I think is pretty good to kind of jump
Okay.
on. I think I like the idea that there's a movement around adding ops to the end of functional things inside the business, because that highlights to me, again, having my own bias reinforced, but it highlights to me that people are starting to gain a better appreciation for um, gaining a better appreciation for the fact that there's always there's a system in everything. You know, whether that happens organically or it happens by design, there's a system in everything. and when you step away from it and observe it, you can see it. And the ops component piece highlights, look, we can get better at creating experiences, moving towards specific outcomes by taking that kind of focus. And we saw it in things like um, sales ops and biz ops and dev ops and devsec ops and revenue ops and marketing ops and all of the different ops. And it's good that the evolution has made it over here to learning. Wendy added in here that she's seen ops change to strategy. The I don't know if that's a good. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. The thing that I've seen when that happens, and I'm seeing it as well, Wendy. The thing that I've seen when that happens is typically it follows with, given that strategy it's so important, it's such a core part of the business, it now needs to report into the CEO. And everybody, or a lot of people in these ops related roles, think they need to report as high as they can inside the organization because they're business critical. And then I ask that question that usually gets me in trouble, but it's basically, if everybody's reporting to the CEO, does anybody report to the CEO? And how many people?
And is the CEO totally burnt out and just dying on the vine and nobody cares?
and who's driving it? Like who? Like I think it's super cool when people who don't operate, the people who are not the practitioners, I think it's really cool when they go out and tell people how to run their business. That was my sarcasm font for Monday morning.
Do you really think it's cool, Mike?
No, I don't.
Really?
I think it's cute. It's precious. It's awesome. Wait, I know the book you read. So I don't know. I think, and this is where the thing that I go into with this kind of stuff is, what's the job to be done? Like, what are we ultimately trying to accomplish? And in order to accomplish that, do we need to align on strategy? Have we already aligned on strategy and now we need to align on tactics? Do we need to align on the operational rigor that we put in place to help execute? I don't know. I mean, and I'm putting Wendy's comments in here just as we're going through, and a little bit of a delay between when she hears it and types and when it pops up. Yeah, 2 levels down from the CEO. So Wendy, do you report?
Sounds about right.
Do you report up through learning? Like, do you have a chief learning officer that reports into maybe operations, or CLO that reports into a COO? Or do you have, if you don't mind sharing the structure, that's super interesting. Interested in hearing that. So anyway, the ops stuff jumped out at me. It seemed like it jumped out at you too when you said, "Hey, it's kind of cool to see that that's a buzzword."
Yeah, let's just for the sake of time, let me just drop down to that second prompt that I did.
Yeah.
And just see how it decided to date it down. So here's the learning and development news for December 15th, focused on events and reports released within the last 90 days. So new report, reinvent or rust. See, this is interesting. To me, it's like people call it a report, but is it really just another opinion piece or something? Or maybe it's just somebody's opinion writing about a particular topic, and maybe it's fully referenced and very well researched and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it is a great report. I mean, it's put out by CLO. So how could it be wrong? How could they be wrong at all? It's got to be. I mean, the name of the organization is Chief Learning Officer, so it must have everything correct and know exactly what's going on in the CLO world.
Just to pull things back to Wendy, and I know it's kind of fun to do this.
Yeah, we can jump back
forward, and then we jump back and forth, and it's what's cool about it is it makes Brent use our executive function early in the morning and be able to think and put together a thought. So in the structure that Wendy had mentioned before,
AVP.
to an AVP of talent and training, to the C-suite transformation, specifically on the uh, on the on the transformation side of things. So I, that's the other one where I think you're gonna want, if you were to go through this like branching scenario, some kind of decision tree, and you ask the question, is the organization promoting the idea of transformation? If, or are they bought into the need for transformation, meaning we need to transform the business? What's going to get us to where we need to go in the future is not necessarily what we've done in the past. Then there might be a higher emphasis um, on talent and human skills and the people inside the business. Um, if they're not focused on transformation, if they're kind of good, it's more about, hey, we ultimately just need to scale what we're already doing really, really well. Then it might, then the lens that you look through in the business might be slightly different. So it's kind of, I think it's interesting that in Wendy's organization, that direct line, and why there's this direct connection is because I believe, based on having a transformation group, that transformation is important to the business, at least the way that they're looking at it. But that's that's me just making some assumptions based on some of the naming. I see you're putting in the formula based on
Yeah,
Wendy's request.
it's needing to do a lot of thinking because I apparently confused it to some extent.
While it's thinking, here's Craig's comment.
Yeah, I did see that, and I can totally relate, Craig. I've been through many different departments. It was my well, okay, so I jumped around a little bit early in my career, but once I became a full-time employee at Intel, which was really my first long-term corporate gig, I jumped around on the inside to multiple different departments and had the same experience that you've had. The processes can be extremely different, and this is, I mean, not to keep seeing an opportunity and pimping my solution to it, but this is exactly why I want to do this workshop on the business of learning and development for folks. Even if people have been in the industry for a while, I'm certain that they will find it useful and helpful because of exactly what you've just put in your comment. It's you can't just have one, you can't have tunnel vision around your instructional design and be able to effectively function in those very different areas where training can possibly sit within a company, and just function exactly the same way in each one of those areas. You just can't. I mean, unless you are exceptional at change management for yourself. Um, I you need to be flexible, and you need to move on, and you need to change. You need to be able to change your instructional design philosophy. You need to change your expectations of what kind of solutions that you're creating, how much money you get to use, how scrappy you need to be or have to be. Um, how to be frugal even though you are handed a bag full of money because you're now doing sales and they just have a boatload of money, or whatever. All that kind of stuff. So
The
um,
thing, and just to build on Brent's point and Craig's point, but even just ask yourself inside families how different the view is of what the thing is that happens. And these are people that have been around each other for a long period of time. And it's the 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 I think the way that you solve a lot of that, which takes a lot of time and takes getting over a lot of egos, is clarity of definition and simplifying, not allowing the complexity, like that complexity of the organization, to have that large of a group, to have functional areas inside the functional teams, and then a centralized location. Um, means that you've got a large company with a lot of baggage and stuff that keeps adding to it. And it's rare, when those people come together, it's rare for them to align on the simple things like vocabulary. And they want to create complexity and like this fog of what else is out there because it helps with um, self preservation from a job perspective.
Yes,
Imagine what ends up happening
there is that too.
to the point that Craig made here, where it even happens working with some of the same clients. So now you've got clients who people talk about brand and culture and making it easy to work with you, but depending on which functional area of the business, their experience working with you is completely different than the other functional area of the business. And yet we wonder why there's churn and there's confusion and there's infighting and all of that other kind of stuff. Um, you guys are going to get
Yeah.
me on a soapbox today, so Brent, keep us keep us
I
on
will
track.
bring us back to the news and the AI stuff because this is actually getting kind of interesting and it kind of drops into my wheelhouse. I didn't scroll down all the way enough to see number 5 in the second pushback. The that Hack the Box acquired Let's Defend, and I'm going to bookmark that, hold that thought, and go back to it because what I did quietly while Mike was interacting with Craig was taking Wendy's um, comments to heart and putting it in. So what I asked Gemini, what formula did you use to define each of these items as, and I put it in quotes, current news. And I thought Gemini did a really good job of explaining it, her or they's self, theirs self, their self, theirs is self is its self. I don't know. Um, to define, I always think of my AIs as having a feminine voice and aesthetic. So I will always say her and she. So for whatever that's worth, just get used to it, people. To define the items as current news, I applied a specific filtering formula based on recency, market impact, and verifiable events versus general buzz, which I think is cool. Here's the exact formula I used to select and validate each item. So it went through and did all these items, and this is the interesting thing. So the hard date filter, this was the 90 days that it used. When I said back 3 months, I saw Hack the Box and Let's Defend. I don't know if you guys do you know what Hack the Box is, Mike?
I think no.
So the only reason why I know it is when I was studying for the CompTIA Security Plus exam, I was pointed to that particular website by a lot of people. Basically, it is a simulated environment for cybersecurity professionals to act as the bad guy in a safe environment. And I remember just being mind blown that nobody in the greater L&D industry has ever told me about this particular simulated space. Nobody has mentioned it. I haven't seen anybody talk about it. I don't even know if anybody in our world knows about it, but it is an amazing learning experience that should be highlighted as for what it is. It's awesome. It's nothing short of spectacular that you can, in a safe environment, as a cybersecurity professional, as be able to go in and practice being the bad guy so that you can in turn learn how to keep the systems that you've been asked to protect safe from the bad guys. So I think the business, the model, the product is super cool. I don't know anything about Let's Defend, but yeah, I just had to point that out. I when I see good learning experiences or when I experience good learning experiences, I'm always like, damn, how come I didn't hear about this sooner? How come? And I'll guarantee you this was not created by an L&D professional.
What? Wait, what? Hold on. Come on now.
That was an excellent response, and I'm so glad that you did that. We're going to have to cut that clip. Uh, Mind Tools by Kineo. I'm just going to keep moving us on, or else I can just ramble and banter on about that forever. But the market mover criteria, M&A and consolidation. I prioritize news that fundamentally changes the structure of the industry rather than just product features. So that's cool. Why I chose Mind Tools and Kineo. This isn't just a software update. It's a merger of a major content library with a major platform provider. This signals to the market that buying separate vendors for content and LMS is becoming outdated. Why I chose Hack the Box. Oh, awesome. This represents the first major consolidation of red team offensive and blue team defensive training into a single platform. For a buyer, this changes how they budget for cybersecurity training. Okay. Um, so Hack the Box is red team, and Let's Defend is blue team. So, and for those of you that aren't familiar with the two terms, when cybersecurity um, companies are practicing and working together and running internal simulations in their company, they will often take a bunch of security folks and say, okay, you're the red team, you be the hackers, and we'll be the blue team. You guys try to break into our systems. We'll be the team that tries to defend. Okay, ready, set, go. Which is kind of cool. But and the fact that there's tools out there that let you jump and to be one or the other, I just think is really super cool.
And one of the things to go through, and this becomes a thing that you can take from outside of the learning space, typically outside of the learning space, but applies to everything we do inside this space when we're talking about helping humans do better things, get to that piece around performance. Take a look at the Red Team Handbook in Army Training Doctrine, and you'll get a view on some of the tools and resources that are used to help in an operating environment where you're trying to make change happen, or you're trying to have something um, do good things, or even do bad things, whatever the thing is. You go through these red teaming exercises like pre-mortem. So a lot of people will talk about post-mortem, going through and doing the analysis after the fact. Pre-mortem is envisioning what might happen. Look, you're putting yourself into that envisioning future state. One of the tools that I use often with the folks I work with is the 4 ways of seeing, which is a way to get through accelerated empathy. So 4 ways of seeing from a communication perspective. But those are two tools that are super interesting, and they're publicly available through the Red Team Handbook. Again, do a search for Red Team and Army Training Doctrine, and you'll find it.
And Craig just pointed something out. Yes, I actually thought I was going to talk with Kevin Thorne, and when I was going through the whole cybersecurity thing, of course, I couldn't help but think about how can I create learning around this for other people, and I kept thinking about like gamifying it and card games and board games, but a bunch of really good ones have already been created. So yes, and Craig is pointing them out here. One thing I mean, and just to keep highlighting this because I just feel like I have to, I find it very, very interesting that when I asked Gemini, I specifically said learning and development. It did not say cybersecurity. I did not say a specific industry. And the fact that Gemini would put companies like Hack the Box and Let's Defend into the learning and development industry, and literally nobody else in the L&D industry would, nobody in the cybersecurity industry would, gives me pause.
But so I'm going to push back on the nobody, because even though I said, hey, most people in this space wouldn't be looking at the documents, it's actually Army Training Doctrine. So like it's that's in the name. So that's a bit
Well,
kind of
I so yeah,
asinine of
the
me to
red
say
team,
that.
blue
So
teams, yeah, the red team, blue team stuff, yes. I would say in general. I'm talking about these specific products, like Hack the Box and Let's Defend. I don't think anybody's ever seen them at an L&D event. Do they set up a booth in the expo? Do they buy advertising space within any of the industry magazines, within the professional associations, stuff like that? I would be curious to know if either one of these companies has a CLO or has a learning and development team or a
that's,
L&D strategist.
let's throw that in there. Who's the CLO at Hack the Box, or who's the L&D strategist? Craig is highlighting that either Dave, depending on if you go Hal, or Amber or Karen, or whoever the AI is actually, even though you said don't pay attention to me, it's paying attention to you, and it knows. It knows. I think it's funny. So Wendy's AI is a dude. Uh, Brent's AI is a chick, and Craig's AI is not humanized because it just gets too weird if that happens. So there we go. Like we have a very diverse collective here. I fall into Craig's camp, or mine is not named. Mine is a robot, and the robot and I communicate with each other just like I communicate with others, robot to robot.
Well, you say please to your AI all the
I
time, Mike.
I do say please, but I say please to everybody. Like I'm still a freaking robot. Like it's all part of the it's all part of the equation. Like the please and thank you. I mean, I was raised. I wasn't born in a barn.
You don't leave the door open and air conditioning the whole neighborhood, do you?
Come on now. We have to stay on
Oh
brand. All right,
man.
let's say what did the AI tell us?
Okay, it says based on the organizational structure following hack, blah blah blah. Let's just get right to the point. Can we find it? CLO. Looks like we have because Hack the Box is a platform first company. The chief learning officer role is split between product leadership and content engineering. Oh, go figure! I'm shocked.
But I think that's the coolest part about a lot of this stuff.
All right, I need to reach out to Ben
Yep.
and to Demetrios and have a conversation with both of them.
Yeah. One of the things we ran into, and I and at CyberSafe, which is that human factor risk company, and just some of the different groups that we would talk to. So at CyberSafe, it was more about the human, how the human does things, not the technical human, the general human. There was another group that we did some work with through a company that I did some stuff with, a company named Intuition, was pulling together a cyber portfolio that was focused on the engineering side of things. And that engineering company, very interesting company, called Secure Code Warrior. And the both of those had a deep learning component built into it, and why it was important for Intuition to build it. Do you know the background on Intuition? Have you ever worked with them? Are you familiar with them? So,
I do know the name. I know who they are, but I've never worked with them, and I'm not familiar with how they created their product. No.
Irish-based company. So if you go back in the day, like we were kind of working our way back, right? So way back in the day, uh, CBT Systems existed.
Oh yes, I do remember them.
Irish-based company, CBT Systems, and CBT Systems broke up into two different groups. One, Intuition, which focused on the business side.
That's one. Okay.
CBT Systems focused on the technical side. There was just a falling out, and you can kind of go back through this, but that was the branching the branch that happened where some people went down the business side and some people went down the technical side. Well, that's CBT Systems right around 99, 2000 ish time period became Smart Force. And then Intuition kept doing its thing and Smart Force kept doing its thing. And then there were all these other ones that popped up like a NetG and then the one who came in and just started acquiring all of them, which was Skillsoft. Yeah, so that was the background. So CBT Systems broke up into Intuition and CBT Systems, and ultimately became Smart Force and Intuition, and then you saw some of the other ones kind of pop up. So there you go.
It looks like Ben is our ultimate reach out. So I think I've beat that dead horse. So I now have an action item that I will follow up on. And we should pick something else.
This is awesome. I think Wendy and I just became soulmates. Mine tells me it tells me you think in systems, so I'm going to give you another view. Like my AI is saying, you need to be more human. It's good. It is good to be around people who understand me, Wendy. So thank you. You've made this is a great way to start a week. So thank you.
You found your people.
There we go.
Oh man.
642.
It is 642. You know, I don't want to say I feel like we've run out of anything because we certainly haven't. There are plenty of other. Let's go all the way back to the beginning again, shall we? And just see if there's another item that we missed that we should have discussed before we say goodbye to everyone. So the co-pilot, skills-based organization. I don't know if we want to go beating down that dead horse again either.
I think it might be interesting to take a look at that Microsoft report just super quickly. Like,
okay, where just do that? It. Which one?
The one that Dewan. So there's so periodically, if you follow Brent and I on LinkedIn and Twitter, you'll see some interaction that we'll have with different people, and I'll comment
we'll fire that up.
Comment to Brent if it's something where it's like, hey, this might make sense for us to talk about, which is us starting to build out our own news. And some of this comes from, and you can tell this is an AI generated image. Brent, how can you tell?
Because it's just so pretty.
So the thing that jumps out at me always are all of these extra like little pixels in here. So if most AI images, at least when you start looking at them at level of detail, they don't have they won't use a consistent color through. The colors will be all pixelated like this, and it becomes a really quick way, at least for me, to spot some of the differences there. So Dewan Brown, who's a friend and a good person to follow, so a little shout out to Dewan, is back at Microsoft. He's one of those guys that's left Microsoft and then has come back, and then has left Microsoft and then has come back. And I think he's in his comeback phase. What's next in AI? 7 trends to watch in 2026. And I'm going to scroll through these really super quickly. What I'd like to do is suggest that everybody who is in the stream go and take a look at this article, and maybe a little bit later this week we break down a component of it. But we get into agents, we get shrink the health gap, central to the research process. Infrastructure will get smarter and more efficient. It's learning the language of code. And the next leap in computing is closer than most people think. So the thing that jumps out at me on something like this, when Microsoft pushed something out like this, is I don't know what watching for these things really does in the business.
I was just gonna say, you know what's interesting, and I'm gonna say this. Oh, I think I threw it away. Hold on a second.
So anyway, it's
so here is what
you're mirrored. What are they? Like everything's
buzzing out.
No, it's showing it backwards. It's like when my stuff was
oh yeah,
got
called
mirrored.
So yeah. So okay. So here's how the marketing is going to play out. This is just the a Docebo playbook, scaling to one, building scalable learning as a work operating model, and all of the things you can do and the strategies and whatnot. It's all extremely high level. Nobody ever tells you in those things how to do stuff tactically, to how to connect it to the thing, but they just point out stuff at a very high level and they itemize those. My guess is if you ask AI to give you a high level strategic marketing piece about the use of AI in the business, it would probably give you the exact same items.
Hold on. Are you suggesting that Microsoft should have some view of AI guilt for using AI to create their using Copilot to create their next in
I'm not
AI?
saying they did. I'm just saying that, boy, the headlines for each one sure looks a heck of a lot like the headlines I get when I ask it to build reports for me.
Uh, this is what they talk about when shout outs go bad.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So yeah. So as we wrap up and get close to the top of the hour, I will say I've watched a ton of Mad Men clips, but I can say officially I've never watched a whole episode all the way through, and I never binged it or anything like that. But one of my favorite episodes that people have shared a lot, I haven't seen it in a while though, is the one where he's doing the pitch on the carousel, um, that has you put the 35 millimeter slides in the
Oh yeah.
circular
Yep.
carousel thing, and it projects your family pictures up on
Yeah.
the wall. And they were trying to come up with a name for it or something like that, and he starts giving this really emotional, using emotion and storytelling
Uh,
to explain exactly what this product is. And it's super cool if anybody's ever seen it. Find that clip, watch it. It's good.
that is a series that I've never watched either. And then yet I'm gonna go back in and watch Breaking Bad again. So like there's certain series that I will watch over and over.
There,
There's
there.
certain
Yeah. So this tells us a lot about you, Mike.
I watched the first one. I watched the first one the other day. Um, I forget why, and ended up putting it into the Marion Bright series, which is the only like I've done TV series before. I did an entire one on Ted Lasso.
Oh yes, yes,
One
yes. I
year,
do remember you doing that. Yeah.
I did 1 year on Ted Lasso, and it was that was season like 4 or 5, and Breaking Bad was actually released in 2008. And there's so much stuff that comes out of that pilot episode where you're like, holy crap! Like it just
Oh yeah, the
really,
pilot
really
episode is
good.
the initial one is good. Yeah.
There's really,
It's
really good
crazy.
stuff.
Yeah, I did.
Uh,
That's the only thing that I tried to watch Breaking Bad, but I think at episode 4 or 5, it just became kind of too much or
yeah,
whatever. I should have hung in there a little longer, but I didn't have the place for it. You know what I want to do before we wrap up is I
yeah.
just want to do a quick shout out, Wendy, if you are interested in the advertising stuff. I've always seen advertising and marketing be so closely connected to what we do. And if you have a master class subscription, I haven't had one in a year or two, maybe more now. There's a couple advertising guys that do an episode, I guess, whatever you call it. I don't even remember their names. I don't remember their advertising company, but it's two guys that started this ad agency. It's a huge one. They've done like some of the biggest ad campaigns ever. And it's just great that like how they got their first gig, how they deal with their people, how they deal with creativity, how they come up with ideas. It's really, really good. It's one of my favorites in that whole masterclass series of stuff. So yeah, I would say check that out. And I'm going to go back and look and see if I can remember their names, and I'll share it with folks. But that's all I've got for today.
All right. We're at it again tomorrow.
Yes, we are on it again tomorrow.
Same bad time, same bad channel.
I believe so.
All right. Where do you want people to go to find out more about what you're working on, Brent, and this thing that you got coming up on Thursday?
Yes. So hit me up on LinkedIn, and let's hang out together on Thursday and learn all about basically my experiences in the L&D industry, and learn about how you can learn about business acumen and become better at the words and the lunacy of the industry that you now find yourself working in, and you find it to be so confusing. Let me help clarify some things for you. Where can people find you, Mike?
You can find your catalyst at findmycatalyst.com. That video that I mentioned around building out your first 3 sprints of the new year, those first 3 2-week sprints of the new year, and why it's important, just went live both on the YouTube channel and in the newsletter post on findmycatalyst.com. That is the best place to connect up. Thanks everybody for being on here. Wendy, Craig, always good to see you. Really appreciate the engagement and the interaction. And it's also good that the treat the AI like robot side is up to 1 to 1. So there we go. Actually, I guess we're tied. You guys went human, we went robot. So 2-2. Let's see who gets who breaks